You have found Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land, coming to you remotely, because hell, that's how we always do it, right? At least we do now. But also airing through the Sun Prairie Community Radio Studios, underwritten by Bank of Sun Prairie. My name is James Kademan, entrepreneur, author, speaker, and helpful coach to small business owners across the country. Today, I am excited to learn from Vivian Probst, author, business consultant. She's done 30 years in the affordable housing industry, which that alone, I think 1 year would be tough. And then you're publishing your first book in Winglish. So let's welcome Vivian. And Vivian, I don't even know where to start with all that. There's so much going on. I feel like that's 12 lives of experience.
It feels like 12 lives, Jim.
Yeah.
So I think a good place to start is to help people understand what Winglish is.
Yes.
After that, we can talk about my 30 years in affordable housing and what I've been doing and what I've learned about business. But let's just talk, if we can, just a few moments about this has been a 20-year saga for me to figure out how to make English work for men and women. Okay? I'm a linguist. Okay, now that's not going to excite your audience because linguists really work with language and they break words apart and they analyze words, and we do that not only with other languages. I've decided to do it with English because English is awfully masculine.
It is.
What I mean is that there are a lot of words for men.
Okay.
And there are virtually no words for women. Even if you take the word women, well, that's W-O-M-E-N. So our words are always attached to men. And I have done years of study on this. And so I've decided, because this is the 100th anniversary of our right to vote. Hallelujah. Okay.
Right.
Yes.
It is bizarre that's only 100 years.
I know. Well,
bizarre.
Yeah, well, it took 72 years
to
get the vote.
So it's all good.
Yeah.
At least better.
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah.
And so I decided, could English work better and serve all genders or both genders, however you see gender, if we gave women some words? So if anyone can see my book back here, which I don't know, let me pull it up here.
The Woman Who Forgot Who She Was. So
one thing I've done is taken a few words in English and changed them so they are either gender friendly for women, or they just take some of the masculinity out of words. So Winglish, or We English, is a gender balanced look at language. So let's start with the.
Yeah, I'm going to need some help with that one.
All right. So here's the thing. Whenever we see THE, we pronounce it THA.
Sure.
Got it?
In the, right?
Yeah, the.
Okay.
And so it's a good example of what I've done with all words in English. Any word that spells he and doesn't spell or allow an inclusive look at a word for women gets changed. So the is our most common word in English. We use it all the time, don't we?
I would like to think so.
Yeah. So, I mean, look at any book in English, and I've done this for years. I've circled all the words that are spelled THE. Now, here's what's interesting, and it's sort of a little grammar lesson, but I think your audience would be interested because the is an article in English, and we have one other article, and we're not going to do a pop quiz, but in English, we have one other article, and it's spelled two different ways. We have a and an. And so all I've done is decided, why don't we treat the same way that we treat a and an? So that a and an have two different spellings and two different pronunciations.
Certainly.
And so I've just taken the, and when we pronounce it the, I write it as THA. And when it's the, I write it as THE. Now, here's what I hope it does, and here's what I already sense it's doing, because this is getting out. I am actually releasing the book on August the 26th, which is the actual 100th anniversary. All right.
Nice. That's soon. Yeah.
Yeah. So women, which I spell WIMIN, women are gathering around and going, wow, we've never had our own words. All of our words have linked us to men.
Okay.
Ever since English began. And so my hope is that women, if we slightly alter the spelling of woman and women, we'll have a more gender balanced language and all-inclusive language. Okay, so this is a research project, and I'm interested to see how women and men feel about this slightly different spelling. So now this is a novel, and this is the first of 5 volumes.
Wow.
All right. So there is a story behind this. The woman who forgot who she was is a woman who literally has forgotten, due to retrograde amnesia, forgotten who she is. And that retrograde amnesia is because of a trauma. So compelling and so devastating that she can't bear to remember it. So she loses a piece of herself.
Okay.
Or pieces. And if we stop and think about it, a lot of us lose pieces of ourselves as we live through our childhood and grow into adulthood. So this is kind of a play on, as my daughter said, well, Mom, aren't you describing most of us when you say, you know, someone who forgot who they were? Because don't we often say, I don't really know who I am, you know? And, you know, we're in our 40s and 50s, and it's like, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Anyway,
Sure.
This is a woman who takes mythical journeys that give her clues. She doesn't get an all at once, oh, this is what you forgot, because it would be devastating to her. But through these 5 books, she gets clues. And people that she's forgotten play parts in these dreams or these episodes. So she starts to piece this together, and she gets who she is slowly and compellingly over time, because she could not take the shock. It would be too hard for her, and she would probably not want to live if she remembered it all at once. So that is my brief look at what I'm doing as an author.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is The Woman Who Forgot Who She Was. This is volume 1. Will be released on Kindle on August 26th, which is the 26th anniversary of women's right to vote. And the other thing that I've learned is we got the right to vote by 1 vote. I don't know if anyone knows that.
I did not.
No, I got to tell you, it came down to the state of Tennessee.
Okay.
And one man who changed his vote against suffrage to suffrage. It's an extraordinary tale. All right. Took 72 years to get 35 states to ratify, but we needed a 36th state. And there was only 1 state left, and that was Tennessee.
That's right, because I was in Nashville, and I think they have there's a whole statue, a monument, right?
Yeah.
Very
And
cool.
so when you read about what was really going on during that time, when you read it, and there were all kinds of plots to remove women's right to vote and to make it so that women would never get that right. But it took the courage of one man who, after that, had to be assigned a bodyguard. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. And he was a representative, 24-year-old young man. And his mother, who was seriously educated and very involved in world affairs and really interested in things that were going on in the world and in our country, begged him to vote for suffrage, while all of his constituents were going, no, no, don't vote for suffrage. So his mother's plea, and he realized this. At the moment he placed his vote, he was setting the stage for something that could never, ever be altered. Once that vote was taken in Tennessee, 36th state, it would be the last chance for the 19th Amendment to make it. And so he changed his vote, he changed his mind, and voted for suffrage and gave women the right to vote. So
wow, that's cool.
It's a compelling story. And I believe there are a lot of people who don't know that. And I am like, never forget. One person makes a difference.
When I saw that memorial in Nashville, I remember looking at the dates and thinking, wait, what? Really? It was that like 1920s? That seems 1920?
Yeah.
That's not that long ago. Like,
yeah.
It's 100 years. You think, oh, that's a while ago, but realistically, no. That's what are you talking? 20 years before World War II? Like, World War I had already come and pretty much gone, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's bizarre to think of all the stuff that's happened in history, and a lot of it really isn't that long ago.
Yeah.
I feel like we get stuck in this whole mindset of technology changing by the minute or by the hour. You think like, we weren't, like, airplanes aren't even that old.
No. But so here's what's going on then with my work with language.
Yeah.
You see, women now have equality in their right to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe women yet have equality in words.
Okay, you gotta help me with that. Why do you believe that?
Well, because when you spell woman, it's W-O-M-A-N, man. And then when you spell women, it's W-O-M-E-N. We are attached. Every way you say something about a woman, we're attached to men. Think of female. Okay, so so what I want to do is in those very simple words, I just want to change how they're spelled, and we're spelling them like we say them. That's what a linguist does. They look at the sounds and then they spell according to sound.
So then how would you spell she?
Oh, you just nailed one of the issues I haven't been able to deal with.
Okay.
I don't know how to
add another E or?
Yeah, well, maybe somebody's going to have to help me. That's been recommended. Her. Now, H-E-R. She and her are two words I'm still struggling with how to fix those.
Sure.
But by and large, what I've been able to do is take words that are just all about men. Like, and I love men, okay? I love my husband. I just want to equalize things.
We're all right.
Yeah. Cool. You'll do in a pinch, right? Okay,
yeah.
So
women are cool too.
Yeah. So all I want to do is equalize language for all of us. So I've taken all masculine words out of English that don't refer to man gender. So history. Got it?
I was just going to ask you about history.
Were you really?
I was,
yeah. So I change it to our past. Now you could do herstory, but I'm not there yet. But any word, manage, gone, all right?
All right.
There are 10,000 words in English that have male reference.
I would bet that quite a few if you dig deep enough, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and so they're all gone out of my writing. And here's what I want to know, and here's what I hope.
Okay.
I want to know if it makes a difference to those of us who are not men to have a few words of our own and a way to talk and spell and write that doesn't force us to use man words.
Mm-hmm.
And that, so I've very methodically gone, I have 5 volumes, and I've very methodically gone through all of these and to check for any unnecessary man words, I would call it.
Unnecessary.
And see if
Okay.
it makes a difference to women, and not just women, but think of the multiple genders that are now represented in this country.
So I was
There are,
just, yeah, that was an excellent segue to a question that I have for you. Because in my communication with people, I'm using they and them more often when speaking to a single person, because you don't know, and it's none of my business. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
wanna be as kind as I can. I don't want someone to take my language to be evil or narcissistic or anything like that.
yeah.
I use they, them often. I find it's pretty rare that I use he or she instead of they.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's almost an automatic thing, and maybe it's because I'm around Madison, Wisconsin, and we just steer towards the they portion. I don't know. I don't know if
Yeah,
it comes with country or area specifically, or I guess at one point, from my perspective, I was talking with a linguist. I interviewed a linguist, Samantha B.
okay.
And she, from talking with her, I was like, are he and she just going away as words? And then but then it comes down to proper grammar, right? Which is always evolving. So he and she is now technically correct, but societally not necessarily correct. So, would that be better
Well, that's,
from your perspective?
it's good.
Okay.
In my work,
Mm-hmm.
we would say that they and them are he words.
You would,
Yeah, now,
because they have he in them.
yes,
Okay.
yes. Here's the thing
Okay.
I want to be careful of, and that is that we don't disavow those who want to be seen as gender specific
Mm-hmm.
by just what's the word I want, but by just caving in, or not caving in, but identifying ourselves with more he words. So I like that,
Mm-hmm.
but generally speaking, here's what I do. I just ask. Here's an example.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed a new baby and you can't tell if it's a boy or girl? La la
Sure. They
la.
all look like old
Yeah.
rats.
Old people. Yeah. And so I ask the parent, "What's your baby's name?" Okay.
Okay.
And I'm always hoping that that'll give me a clue, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Doesn't really matter.
Sure.
But I do the same thing when I'm talking to people, and that is, how do you prefer to be referred to? Okay. So I want them to tell me. I don't want to assume for the whole world that everybody wants the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to offer them, how would you like me to refer to you? And that's, so you've touched on,
there's a challenge that I have with that.
yeah,
And then I feel like if I'm talking with someone, typically, a lot of us don't have a ton of time. Podcasts being the exception to the rule, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times, I don't have the time to say, tell me your dreams. What do you like to be referred to? I'm just going to refer to them as they or them, knowing that in my mind, from my perspective, that's not the important part. I'm talking to you about something, whatever content we're talking about, that's the important part. How we address you when we say hello or anything, that's like breadcrumbs on a sandwich kind of thing. We're not paying attention to the sandwich. We're saying like, hey, look at that breadcrumb kind of thing.
Well,
I feel like we're overlooking the content of the conversation, or people are getting stuck at something that, and maybe this is me being a male being like, I didn't even know there were he words outside of the word he, and then she is the she word. I'm studying Spanish. There's words that are masculine. There's words that are feminine, which that blew my mind, because I was like, who decides if a hotel is masculine or feminine? I don't even know.
okay. Yeah. I would like to just interject that
Sure.
I I feel like it's not any more time consuming
Mm-hmm.
than to ask, what's your name? When I'm getting to know someone, and maybe in an urgent situation, I may not have time
Mm-hmm.
to do that. But out of respect, and respect we have for all people,
Sure.
I would like to ask what their preference is rather than me globally assuming,
Mm-hmm.
because it personalizes. It means I care enough about you to ask how you'd like to be referred to.
Can you
So
give me an
that's my
example?
only, go ahead.
Can you give me an example? Like if you and I were having a conversation?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so tell me how you'd like to be referred to. What name would you like me to call you?
You can call me James.
Okay, James. James, now, when I refer to you, would you like me to say he, she, or do you have a different priority?
That is so weird.
He?
Like,
Okay.
it's so weird because I'm so taken aback by that question. Like, I was hoping it was obvious, but maybe not. Yeah, he is cool.
Yeah. It means that, and I think we're getting there to a point where it is relevant. Not every male person wants to be referred to in a male vernacular. And that's
Okay.
part of all this that's coming about. And not every woman wants to be referred to in an is that a word, assumptive? In
Sure.
a way that
It is
assumes,
today.
oh, I can see you're a man, therefore I'm going to use he, So what I like about what I'm doing with English is I'm, as much as possible, removing that
Mm-hmm.
from how we spell and how we write and how we communicate, because too often we're just tipped over. We're just tipped over with man words. And so those of us who do not prefer to be referred to in that way, we we want to be able to call ourselves something that gives us a way to refer to ourselves individually and independently. This is my thesis. This is my
Mm-hmm.
theory,
Sure.
that there are people who want that privilege.
So, privilege. That's interesting choice of words. Um, so can you tell me, perfect world, ideal world, in what time frame do you feel like this should or will happen, and what does the world look like then because of this language change?
Oh, here's what I love. That's a brilliant question. That's a
Okay.
brilliant
Well,
question.
thank you.
Yeah. We each look and act like who we individually want to be.
Okay.
For too long, and I refer to women here because that's what I've been working on so long, but for too long, I've seen people that aren't free to be themselves. I don't care if you're heterosexual, homosexual, I don't care what. We are boxed in by expectations. And what I want to do is I want to bring out your personal brilliance.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be absolutely free. And that's my life work. And I don't see people having that yet. And we're protesting, we're
There's a lot of people
marching for our
protesting. Yep.
rights. Yep, we
Mm-hmm.
are. And this gift of self-expression is born in us.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that we're robbed. And so I don't care what your body parts make you at birth. I care about who you want to be. And I'm older than you, okay? And I
Only by a
have,
year or two. We're good.
yeah. And I have a dozen grandchildren.
Okay.
And
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
You got
yeah,
me beat.
yeah. So, and all I care about is that they each get to express their gifts and their personality. And I want that for all of us. And
Okay.
so rather than set boundaries, I want to release boundaries. And so while my books acknowledge two different genders,
Mm-hmm.
it takes all the other words out of English that refer to man, because to be honest, there are no words for women. There are no words for women that don't refer to men. So maybe I'm a step behind, but what I'm doing is just taking these masculine words out of English so we can go, oh, you can say that without using all these, excuse me, excuse me, all these
It was the
man
wrong time of year to
words.
be coughing, right?
What?
I'm just kidding. It's the wrong time of
Oh,
year to be coughing.
oh, 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 and can I just say, I would like to see the word virus removed.
Virus.
Virus. I'm a
Okay.
real we, us word woman.
Okay.
And when we use the word virus,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want us in virus. So this is who I am. This is what I do with language.
Wait, clarify that. What do you want virus to be replaced with?
Oh, COVID is fine.
Okay. But I mean,
Pandemic.
virus, like the scientific thing.
Well, the us in virus.
So
Does
it
that
should be
sound weird?
you or viral somebody
Well,
else?
I don't care. Virum, I don't. But here's the thing. I am so particular about words
Mm-hmm.
that, and I love we words, and I love, but when it comes to any we words, including us words that are negative, I don't want to go around saying virus. I want anything else.
So it's safe to say that I don't know where the word virus came from, but I'm assuming it's some Latin root
Yep.
where the intention of whoever came up with that word, probably us as a word, was nowhere near what they were hoping to put in that word.
Yep.
I could be wrong, but I'm guessing. So this seems to be just looking at letters more than words, or looking at the US in a word and determining, is that a negative word or a positive word? If it's negative, get that us out of there. If it's positive, highlight and capitalize that us.
It's just it's a good example of my work. Now,
Okay.
so my work with English, and English is important because it is now the most commonly spoken language in the world.
It is.
It is.
Okay.
Not the most spoken primary language,
Okay.
but when you include everybody who's using it as a secondary language, then it is the most spoken language in the world. And I want to get rid of the gender stuff that we can get rid of. And that's what my books are doing. So it's to free up our language to be used by all genders. And if you prefer they, them,
Mm-hmm.
fine. I mean, I'm not a Webster. I didn't publish the dictionary,
Sure.
right? But I
Only
have
two
an
of us.
opinion. I have an opinion about how language and words affect us. Now, I am not alone here.
Sure. Certainly not.
There's a subliminal code that famous people by Dr. Leonard Shlain, who wrote The Goddess and the Alphabet. There is, the more times you look in a book and you're reading and you see man, men, his, him, he, you are so subliminally affected that we don't even realize how quickly that happens. And so I can be reading something, and without realizing it, what it causes me to do is think, oh, he, him, not me, my. And so there are studies that are being done on language causing suffering. And
Really?
yeah, And yeah, and this is one way that language causes us to suffer, because we are so gender unbalanced in English.
I can certainly see language affecting and offending people, right? But yeah, it's interesting that he and she, or he or she, would really, I feel like I'm oblivious to that totally. I'm completely, yeah, I'm taken aback, I guess,
Yeah.
because my first thought is, holy cow, if I have to learn English and now I have to relearn English, boy. And then I look at social media and all the people that still haven't figured out 2, 2, and 2, or there and there and there.
Yeah.
We got a long road. Holy cow. And then
But it's
we already
not.
pulled kids out of school, so it's going to be even longer.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not.
It's not
That's the
coming
thing.
home.
Well, it's not, because and let's just say this. This is for people who want to do this. This is for people who want to not spell the THE all the time.
Okay. I feel like a lot of rappers don't already, so.
The what?
I feel like a lot of rappers already don't.
Whatever. It's just a way to look at English that is more balanced and more favorable.
Okay.
Because if we slam a lot of he words into English, then that's what we see, and subliminally it affects us. And this is my work, okay? I'm not here to convince anyone of anything, except to say, this is what I've seen, this is what I've researched, and it's not at all difficult. Okay, it took me 20 years.
Difficult to understand or difficult to
It's not difficult to do.
Not difficult to do.
No, in fact, in my books, I put in a glossary.
Okay.
Yeah. It takes a little thought, but how do I really want to express myself? Do I want to use, I'm having, I get on these shows and then, oh, wait, I have my glossary right here. Hold on.
That's right. Boom.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I want to use the word manuscript?
Okay. Oh,
do I want
publishing
to?
A book? Sure. Because that's a common industry term.
But it's a man word. So this is how deep I go to write books. And
manuscript then, or how do you change it?
Oh, document.
Okay.
Yeah, document, volume, text. In my glossary, in my books, you will see how I substitute words. And like I said, I'm not telling anybody what they have to do. But if you read The Woman Who Forgot Who She Was, you are going to see English that is pretty devoid of what we call man words, except if it's a man, and then for a woman, we replace and spell woman differently. Now,
the MUN.
Yeah.
Woman.
Now, can I tell you something else?
By all means. That's what we're here.
Okay. Since I'm a linguist, I have studied these words in many other languages. See, I shouldn't even use the word many, because that's defeating my own purpose. Many is not a word.
I was going to say the same thing with the word them. Like, that is going to be a tough, buzz or drink. Every time HE shows up.
Oh, wait, demerit. Okay. Anyway, I think we're clear.
Come on, this is tough. Who knew?
Yeah. Boy, I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah.
Other languages, man.
Yeah, other languages. Most other languages use completely separate words when they're talking about a man versus a woman.
Sure.
Not English. Nope. We have to attach MEN and MAN to talk about a woman, or MALE.
In Spanish, we have abuela and abuelo for grandmother and grandfather, right?
Yes, but if you'll give me a moment, in Spanish, here's my charts.
That might be the extent of what I know in Spanish, so you're probably going to win this one.
I did all of this on the internet, but in Spanish, the word female is hembra, H-E-M-B-R-A. The word for male is macho.
Okay.
But
I thought it
I've
was
done
hombre.
this to
I'm
about
sorry.
60
Okay.
languages.
Wow.
Because I did this to 60 languages because I asked myself, am I just being weird here? You don't have to, have to answer that question.
No.
No. So I just wanted to see what other languages do, and most of them have completely separate words. And do you know, there are some languages that don't even use a word the.
Wow.
All right. So Spanish uses el and la, and French uses le and la. But there are some languages that don't even have that word.
Huh. All right.
So all I want to do is give women an opportunity, if they choose, to have their own words and to be able to read and write English without this unnecessary, overpowering sense that diminishes us, that makes us small and invisible. And language can do that. Language does that.
Can I challenge that a little bit?
Sure.
So when you have people using a language, in this case, English, and you have some people using, what would be the proper term for English? I imagine there's a man in there somewhere. I don't see it. Let's say neutral biased English.
Okay.
Or something of that nature.
Okay.
And then you have other people using English as they know it. At some point, there's going to be someone that comes along and just does not understand what one or the other is saying, because now you're essentially creating two languages or a spin-off of a language, right? So like I write my book and I send it to an editor, and the editor uses non-binary English or whatever you want to call it, non-offensive English or whatever. And they start marking up my I want to say manuscript, but I can't use that. My book yet to be published, they start marking it up. This is tough. They start marking it up using their Sheglish, whatever.
Yeah, Winglish.
Weglish, sorry.
Yeah.
Weglish, Ustless. They start using that, and then I get it back and say, wow, you got rid of the word the. What were you, you misspelled the. What are you thinking? What kind of is this?
Yeah, I think you're thinking way beyond what would really happen. So far, we only have Webster's Dictionary and those words. Now, obviously, we're adding new words all the time. So this is not as difficult as it might seem. It's that, again, women have been outraged. Have you noticed?
I've noticed a lot of people are outraged.
Yeah. Oh, well, isn't that just true?
You just pick your demographic, however you want to split it up, right? Rich, poor, color, race, sex, job, whatever. Everybody seems to be upset about something now.
Well, it's true. And I noticed the word suffrage, which was used in 1920, suffrage. Interesting, isn't it?
Indeed.
For me, as I look at women, which are approximately 50% of the world.
Safe to say.
All right. Yeah. I see a lot of rage.
Okay.
And I'm not sure where it all comes from, but what I believe is if women can have words that can help empower them, that don't associate us with men, we can elevate into the equality. By the way, I call it we quality, because we all want equality.
Okay.
This is my test. This is my test to see if it helps women rise up to equality because of equal words.
Okay.
And we've never had them. So
Fair. Fair.
Yeah.
We never tried, right?
Yeah. So I'm working it.
Okay.
I'm just working it, and I'm at the same time, my novel series is doing its best to help people who are suffering in emotional areas. I have 5 volumes coming out. The first one, the subtitle is Escaping Her Dungeon of Despair. All right, there's a lot of people in despair.
All
And
right.
by the way, I have gone through all of these emotions in my own life, and these stories came to me to be written to process me out of those.
Okay.
So book 1 is about despair. Book 2 is about weariness. Book 3 is about rage. Book 4 is about illusion, or the inability to be who we really are. I know that, but E.E. Cummings, I think, coined that "who you really are" phrase. So as weary as we are of it, all I care about is that some way or other we open the door into our own lives. And that's what my books are about. In the 5th volume, my character actually starts living from her authentic life and doing and being who she really wants to be in life. And this is all a journey that I have taken in my short lifetime. So these are stories that are meant to do more than what's the word I want? More than just look at language. These are stories. You won't notice a lot of different words or different spellings. Only a linguist scientist would look and say, "Oh, she didn't use that word there." That just doesn't happen. It's the content of the story that I hope stirs us and helps us to become more of who we really want to be as we live our lives. No. If that makes any sense. I'm trying to do a 2-for-1 special here, language and helping us to individuate into, I believe we're all a separate gender. Okay. Each one of us. There are 2 primary. Yeah. Well, like millions a spectrum. Spectrum.
Billions of genders. Okay.
You just like color, just like vibration. So, look, my mother would have made a great man. Okay. She would have. Okay. She loved doing those things that we call man things.
Okay.
All right. She came in a woman's body. All right. The point is that if you put her on a gender scale, woman to man, she would have been on this side. And I believe that for all genders, that we all hit that spectrum somewhere uniquely, because we're all unique. I think we're like the snowflakes.
Sure. You hit on so many points there. I want to address a few.
Okay.
One, I feel like the further back we go, the more women are going to need, or the more women we probably perceive as leaning more masculine, just because they had to survive.
Possibly.
Right? Like we have, everybody, I feel, has a pretty cush life right now.
Oh, yeah.
We have electricity, we have running water, we have access to information, just
indoor plumbing.
Unlimited.
Yes.
And yet we still have something to complain about, right? So like, well, I feel like our great grandmother, grandfather would look at us and say, "You Sally, you pansy, like what is wrong with you?" We had to go uphill both ways.
Oh yeah, that's my dad.
We had to bring in buckets of water and boil them if we wanted to take a bath.
Yeah.
And then that was like my dad would always tell us this. He's like, we had to carry in water, boil it to take a bath. And then it went youngest to oldest that got to take the same bath. So the youngest kid was taking a bath in this dirty bath water. And he's like, tell me again what you have to complain about.
Yeah. Let's not complain. Let's evolve.
Fair.
That's all we're doing.
I want to address something else that you touched on a couple times.
Yeah.
You mentioned the word inability for people to be who they are. And I talked to a group of authors. What is today? Monday? I talked to a group of authors.
Excuse me, I was off on a tangent here.
Sure. No. That's okay. I was
Yeah,
talking to a
yeah.
group of authors. I'm giving my presentation. It was a few days ago. And it was on essentially making money as an author, different ways to do it, right? Opportunities that are available. And I said, how many of you would consider yourselves self-confident? Confident. And you have me thinking, like, is that a male word or not? I'm very cautious now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm like, how many of you guys feel that you are confident? And it's a Zoom meeting, right? So I can
Mhm.
see, I don't know, 20 out of the however many people are on there, 50, 60, whatever. And I see hardly any hands go up. And I'm like, how many of you have confidence in the book that you're publishing? Same thing. I was like, hold on, time out. I scrapped my presentation. I'm like, that doesn't matter now because I was going to talk about things that you can do. But if you
Yeah,
don't have the confidence to do it,
yeah.
and saying that you don't have the ability to be who you want to be, who is stopping you except for someone in here? There's nothing wrong with you just stepping up and becoming whoever you want to be. No one.
Yeah, well, it's not quite that simple.
Tell me why.
Oh, because of culture, because of how we're raised.
Oh, I challenge that all day long.
Oh,
All day
well,
long.
only if you
Hmm.
choose to become yourself. And that is why so many people don't have confidence, because they haven't taken that step to
Because they haven't
say
chosen.
they haven't chosen. And most, well, I'm not a therapist or psychologist or anything, but I see too many people who haven't, and they're sorry about everything, and they don't see their way through. Now, listen, that was me. Oh my goodness, the way I was raised, absolutely. Pardon me for living. I'm a woman, which makes me lower than a man because that was my religious upbringing.
Ah, okay. So
All
there's a
right,
huge
so
one. Huge one.
all of that, children being abused, all of that affects
Hmm.
our ability to choose. But what we have to know, and you are so right, is we do have the ability to choose. And sometimes you have to hoist yourself out of whoever told you how you were supposed to be. I had to leave my family.
Okay.
I had to leave their whole belief system. And they separated from me like I was diseased.
You're talking about your parents, or you're
Yeah,
talking about your
my
children?
whole family, because they all believed a certain way.
Hmm.
And I
Oh,
have a
religion.
book, yeah, I
Okay.
have a book called I Was a Yo-Yo Wife Until I Learned This. So if anybody wants to know what I went through,
Sure.
but you have to get to the point where you would rather be yourself than anything else, regardless of what it costs. And that's where you get your confidence.
That's fair. So
Yeah.
it sounds to me like that came before this language thing. Is that safe to say?
Well, it's a process.
Okay.
And so, okay, the language thing started about 10 years ago, but my journey uh, away from my family's culture into my own
Mhm.
probably was 40 years ago. So that's fair to say.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you did it, how come other people can't?
It's a personal choice
Okay.
because it hurts, because it's uncomfortable, because
Totally. Absolutely.
yeah. Oh, come on. You said something about, oh, I have it here somewhere. But, you know, sitting on the sofa is safer, right? Don't
Yeah.
you have that on your website or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Complacency,
you have to
comfort.
be willing to get out of the sofa.
Yes.
And a lot of people aren't. I mean, come on.
Well,
It's
there's tons
just,
of people that are very comfortable feeling sorry for themselves,
yes,
placing blame
yes,
on anything.
yes,
Pick
yes,
something
yes,
else.
yes.
As long as you don't blame yourself, you're totally fine.
Oh, yeah. And no, you're miserable, and you cannot, you can't, oh God, you can't enjoy your life the way you could if you really living for what you believe in.
Hmm.
It's just, okay, I say there is one door
Okay.
to becoming yourself.
Hmm.
It's called a door.
All
It's a
right.
play on words.
Adore.
That
Adore.
you,
Like
yeah,
ADORE. You got some neurolinguistic programming going here.
yeah.
Okay.
It's who I am. It's what I do. And so, unless you adore yourself
Mm-hmm.
or think you're worthy enough
Mm-hmm.
to be yourself, you sit in this quagmire of, I don't know, indifference or pain or because you don't feel like you can choose, or blame. Oh, do we have time to talk about the blame word?
I would love to. I
Oh,
would love to.
listen.
'Cause,
Okay.
yeah, whenever I hear anybody blaming something else, I
Yeah.
think, liar.
Yeah. So, okay, this is a linguist's approach to the word blame.
Okay.
BLAME
Okay.
separates as be lame. Got it? It's that,
Okay.
it's that simple.
Sure. And
You
there's
want to
a
blame
me in
someone
there.
else? If I want to blame someone else, it makes me lame. All right?
True story.
Now, take the word shame.
Mm-hmm.
That is me. All right, now, so shame comes because we aren't willing to speak. We are either someone else is quieting us or we're quieting ourselves. So me. And I have this kind of fun with English all the time
That
because
sounds like
some
fun.
words, what?
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, because words tell so much truth.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
I keep
yeah,
thinking of
yeah,
Road and Tommy Boy, right?
yeah. So no blame. Take it. It's mine.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people I accept total responsibility, absolute total responsibility for my life and what I do or don't do.
Now there is a word that people don't use enough.
What?
Responsibility
Oh, yeah, yeah.
for their
You know
own,
what?
for
Well,
their,
look at,
for what they are willing to do to achieve whatever it is that they want. Yeah.
yeah,
Huge. Huge.
yeah, yeah. And if you break that word apart, you get response
Mm-hmm.
ability. In other words, I have the ability to respond. And not only do I have the ability, I feel like I have the obligation to respond
Absolutely.
because my life makes a difference to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will speak on my own behalf.
Yeah. What do I
And
have here? This is
and it doesn't have to be malicious or malevolent or anything.
sure.
It's just speaking who I am, and it creates terror in the hearts of most of us.
Terror.
Terror.
Responsibility creates terror. That is
Yeah.
extreme.
We're
Wow.
we're so terrified
Of what?
of what the world will think of us. Huh.
Who
Which is
cares?
all an illusion, which I call like ill-used ion. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Ill-used
Yeah.
ion.
It's an
Okay. Help me with
illusion.
that. Help me with
Ill
the ill-used ion. Ill-used I got, but the ion thing you threw me off.
ion. Well, ions are scientific pieces of molecules.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're energetic. Ions are energetic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I believe that just as molecules have energy, I also believe that words have energy. And so, so that's another word play I do.
All right.
We could do this all day.
That's it sounds like we'd have fun doing it, right? You know what? It's interesting. When we first started talking, I was like, what? But now we're on the same page here. I think we're on the same page. We have the same intent.
Yes.
I feel we have the
Yes.
same intent. Maybe different means of achieving it, but
Yes.
certainly the same intent.
Yeah.
We just want people to feel more able, knowing that they already have the ability, they have the opportunity, they're just not taking it for whatever reason.
Oh, yeah.
Insert the excuse here, right?
Oh, we have, I believe each of us is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
I believe each of us makes a difference.
Absolutely.
And I had a gal ask me once, well, is it a good difference or a bad difference?
Does it have to be?
And I said, well, I think that's up to us to decide. So my choice, my license plate on the back of my car is just be great. All right.
Oh, that's cool.
So when I'm going around in life,
Mm-hmm.
I ask myself, what is the greatest thing I can do right now? What is the best thing, the greatest thing that will uplift me and anyone that I'm with? That's it. That's what I live for. All
This
right.
podcast right here, we're good.
Yeah.
I like that. That's clever. That's clever.
Yeah.
I like that.
Well, it's been a wonderful journey so far, and I can't wait to see what happens with my books coming out and
Right.
conversations like this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this has been fabulous,
This
even
is
though
fun.
this is not a word I typically use in my writing because it's got his in it, but
That would be so tough to do. Oh
oh,
my gosh. I can't even
oh.
I can't
Well,
even
read my
imagine.
books. Read my books and see if they're tough to read. That's what I would say.
I will be happy to. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be very happy to. I know we don't have a ton of time left, so I want to talk to you really quick about you as a business consultant.
Oh,
And
that's right. Oh
affordable
my
housing. Yeah,
gosh.
well, you got other stuff going on.
Oh,
We scraped the top of the butter here. We got
yeah.
so much here. So, business consultant, tell me what kind of business do you typically work with?
Yeah, I'm a consultant to the a particular type of affordable housing program
Okay.
that is run by Congress and the Internal Revenue Service.
Wow. I didn't even
Yeah,
know they had that.
well, they do, and it's wonderful. These rental properties are all over the country,
Okay.
and they've been around since 1986, and this industry keeps growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And so I got into it early and studied the regulations. I read the code, I read the rules, and I have become a teacher of these tax regulations. And so I'm a consultant teacher. And then our company is also hired to make sure that the people who want to move into these affordable housing communities are qualified. All right.
Okay.
They have to meet criteria. So, gosh, that's how I earn my living.
All right.
And I've been doing it for 30 years. I love it, because I get to teach tax regulations. And which is so thrilling, right?
I was just like,
I think
wow.
everybody
This
should
is
be
the
jealous
first
of
person that has ever said that they enjoyed that.
You know why I enjoy it?
Tell me.
Because interspersed with teaching tax regulations, I get to tell people, and you know what? You make such a difference to life.
Mm.
What you do is very important.
All right.
So just keep thinking about that. And so I keep interjecting that. So it doesn't matter if I'm teaching mechanics or tax regulations or about my book. So my business life for over 30 years has been my consulting business in this affordable housing program.
All right.
And it's
So
been
are you hired by the government or hired by builders? Or
yeah, I'm
who
hired.
hires you?
Sometimes the state housing finance agencies hire me. Sometimes investors hire me. Sometimes property owners hire me. Sometimes management companies hire me. And and think about this. We have that one affordable housing program, but it marries to 5 or 6 other housing programs, each with their own rules. And so if an investor who gets nice tax benefits for creating this housing, that's the key point.
Mm-hmm.
If they use all these different housing programs to create this wonderful affordable housing, somebody's got to know how to integrate these rules and what to do when. And so that's our specialty. Our specialty is teaching the basics, but then blending all these programs so that the people who have to work with these rules know what they're doing, because violations of affordable housing rules that are related to taxes can cause tax value loss to investors. And that's pretty, how do I want to say, that's a pretty diluted look at what happens. But there are consequences.
Okay.
And so I help people stay out of trouble.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. You said it was a growing industry, though. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. If the need for affordable housing is growing, is that just because the population itself is growing, or because the need for affordable housing per stack of population is growing,
It-
which would not be
it-
good in my world.
It's a good question. I haven't studied that. I will tell you this, which may lean you in a particular direction.
Hmm.
And that is that this program really, while it serves all types of people, these units are most often housed by single parent families and senior families.
Okay.
Not always, but we see a lot of that. We see a lot of broken families qualifying for this housing, and a lot of seniors. It serves all populations who, okay, there's low income housing, yeah?
Hmm.
Then there's regular housing. And this is meant to help people who don't qualify for low income housing but can't afford market housing to have a place where they can be housed. Does that help?
It does. Are these individual houses or apartments or?
Oh, yeah, usually apartments. They can be
Okay.
individual houses, they can be duplexes. Oh, they're all over the country. And in most cases, you won't be able to tell the difference between one of these properties and a nice luxury apartment community.
Okay.
That's what happens is these investors and these developers invest, not always, unfortunately, but mostly they invest in creating this lovely housing that people who otherwise couldn't afford it can live in. So I don't know if I can give you any more of a demographic than that, but that's,
That's fine.
yeah,
That's fine. Yeah, my concern is, I guess there's always the concern that the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, and at some point the poor are getting, like the rich, from my point of view, can take care of themselves because they can afford to. The poor are getting poorer. Once you get in a hole, it's tough to get out.
yeah.
So the concern, I guess, from my point of view, and not that we're going to solve it today, is that the affordable housing units needed per million people, has that gone up, or has it stayed just a given percentage of a growing population? So since the
Well,
population itself is going up, the
yeah,
need for affordable housing is maintained.
it's a
Or grown.
very interesting question that would have to be evaluated.
Mhm.
Because I do know that the industry is growing, and here's another way it's growing, which may be of interest. Um, uh, Before 2018,
Mhm.
no one who made more than 60% of area median gross income for that county could qualify for this housing. All
Oh,
right, so it was
people getting stuck in the
60% and
middle,
less. Yeah,
right? People getting stuck in the middle or the higher middle are going to have
yes,
a rough time.
yes. Now, in 2018, Congress decided to allow households with incomes up to 80% to qualify, as long as the average remains at 60%. So Congress
Oh,
saw a need to open the door to 70 and 80% households, as long as we equalize with the lower income households. So I don't know if that's interesting to your audience or not, but this
sure.
program is so vibrant and so alive with opportunity. And then you can take existing housing and rehab it into these programs. So it's very exciting, and it's just been growing and growing. And whether that's because there is a socioeconomic divide, a gap that's widening,
Mhm.
or the population, I just can't answer.
Okay, fair.
Yeah,
Fair. Just, that was more curiosity than
yeah,
anything.
yeah. It
To be
is a good
fair.
question. You're full of
Oh,
good questions.
well, somebody's, yeah, that's, we got a podcast. I better have something smart to say or ask. I better hope I do, right?
Oh,
You have me
we
thinking all
all.
about these words. I'm looking at the word authentic and I was like, it's got he in it. Oh my gosh. What am I going to do about that one?
Original.
Yeah, the real, it's quite the magnifying glass. So,
Woo!
Vivian, I appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah.
How can people find you?
Oh, first of all, if you're looking for my book,
Mhm.
it's out in Kindle on on Amazon,
Okay.
or they can get to me. I'm Vivian at vivianprobst.com. But I think Amazon, The Woman Who Forgot Who She Was, spell the, T-H-A, and woman, W-O-M-U-N. Where is that book?
You just had it in front of you, right?
Yeah.
You didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. The Woman Who
So
Forgot Who
that's
She
it.
Was.
And really, you'll be able to read it, and what you see in words will not trip you up. It'll just say, we have equality, we have gender balance with words.
All right. It'll bring some awareness. So
Yes.
that's interesting. I'm curious. And that comes out August 26th. you said?
26th officially, yes.
All right.
The
Are there
100th anniversary of
pre-orders now?
women's right to vote.
Okay. That's awesome. Are there pre-orders being taken now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Pre-orders are a big deal with authors, so I totally get it.
Yep.
Totally
You should. I mean, you're an author, so let's just say, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's totally
Pre-orders.
Yes, it's available. Get on that bandwagon. That's awesome. This has been Authentic Business Adventures, the business program that brings you the struggle stories and triumphant successes of business owners across the land. I'm so looking at each individual word.
You can divide that one too, but yeah.
Which
Just
word?
Individual.
Individual. Okay.
Yeah.
Help me.
Never mind.
Okay. We'll talk another time.
All right.
It's all good. We're coming to you remotely because that's how we roll right now. But typically through the Sun Prairie Community Studios. We're still on the air, underwritten by Bank of Sun Prairie. If you're if you're listening to this or watching this on the web, please like, subscribe, and share, because that's how the world gets stuff done now. We trust a bunch of people we don't know. That's how it works, right?
Yes.
We'd like to thank you guys, our wonderful listeners, as well as Vivian Probst. I'm sorry, I did that wrong. Damn it. Vivian Probst. It's
all
one
good.
of those things where I verify the way to pronounce a word and then I get all nervous there. We'll figure this out.
You ought to live with me.
Yeah.
My husband,
oh my God.
my husband completely just does his own thing that way with words. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just imagining that your house has all these labels. If there's any item that has a masculine word attached to it, you're like, no, we're not calling that anymore.
Yeah. It's not quite that bad.
Okay.
That's all up here.
Okay.
All those.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Vivian Probst, author, business consultant, 30 years in the affordable housing industry, as well as publishing her first book in Winglish on Amazon, right?
Yep.
And what's the title of the book again?
The Woman Who Forgot Who She Was.
The Woman. And THAWOMUN. Is that correct?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. The Woman. Awesome. Find us airing on 103.5 Wednesdays at 1 p.m., Sundays at 2 p.m., as well as at sunprairiemediacenter.com. Past episodes can be found morning, noon, and night at the podcast link, found at drawincustomers.com. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. And I want you to do one thing. Just stay awesome and enjoy your business. Thank you, Vivian. This has been super cool.
Thank you.
This has been impressive. You got a lot. You have an uphill battle with what you're trying to do, but
Okay.
it's still admirable. It's
Okay.
still admirable. Yeah. So, yeah, good luck with everything. Good luck with the book sales. I meant to ask you, the other 4 books, when will they be coming out?
I project every 4 months or so.
Okay.
It takes me about that long to get, these are already written, but to make sure they're all into Winglish properly, and then, formatting and all that good stuff. So I think every 4 months.
Will they be ebook and hard copy?
Oh yeah, ebook and print copies, absolutely.
Any audiobook or not?
I don't know yet.
You just gotta say yes, man. Just do it.
Okay, yeah, sure.
All you gotta do is read it, right?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Then they wouldn't notice the spelling if that's interesting. Maybe I will do some audio. Then people will not, get all crazy in their heads.
They need less of that. So that's all good. That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. But with technology now, you can do it just from your laptop. It sounds
Well, you're very inspiring.
Well, I got to do what I can.
Yeah, we all are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that. Yeah.
Yeah.